What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and yes, it is that time yet again where we review the top Pokemon card auctions of the week. Folks, this is going to be a shorter auctions of the week recap. There wasn't as many as we've seen in the past several weeks, but we are going to have quality over quantity. And as usual, we got a great variety of cards to go through, and also some cards I'm sure you've never seen before as well. I would like to encourage you that if you are not already, please consider being a subscriber to this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And also a shout out to Orange Room Creations for creating this awesome subscribe button for me. They have a few interesting animation videos on their YouTube channel, so I will link that in the description below. And also a massive thank you to everyone who uses my eBay affiliate link below when you do shopping on eBay. It has been supporting the channel tremendously, and it's really been motivating me to get more and more videos out and to keep going on and so on and so forth with this series. So thank you to everybody who's been using that. I really appreciate it. Alright folks, of course we got a lot of auctions to go through from eBay, and we also have a few very interesting auctions from the weekly PWCC auction block. So let's get started right here with some evolutions from Evolving Skies. A couple of Black Star promo evolutions. Here is a Vaporeon V in PSA 10 that sold for $137, and then a Flareon V that sold as a PSA 10 for $143, and these artworks cannot be beat with these evolutions. They look incredible. Here we saw a Glaceon V that sold for $183, a Sylveon V that sold for $217, this Leafeon V sold for $218 in auction, and this beautiful Espeon V sold for $227. Here we have an Umbreon V from Evolving Skies that sold for $244, and then an Espeon V Max from Fusion Strike. This is definitely one of the better cards from Fusion Strike, one of the big hitters, sold this week for $320. And lastly, for our evolutions, we saw this Japanese Umbreon VMAX that in BGS 10 condition sold this week for $1,625. We saw the legendary birds from Chilling Reign sell this week in PSA 10s. Here's a Galarian Articuno V that sold for $170. The Galarian Moltres V sold for $305. And this Galarian Roadrunner V sold for $172. And we saw a couple of Charizard cards, of course, sell from Brilliant Stars. Here's an SGC 10 of the Charizard V alternate art that sold for $425 this week. And then a BGS 10 Charizard V-Star Rainbow Rare sold for $640. On to some more modern cards that I found very interesting. Here is a Mewtwo EX Secret Rare from the Breakthrough set that sold for $310 this week. We had a 2020 Pikachu on the Ball Futsal promo sell for $608 this week. And then here we had a SGC 10 20th Anniversary Korean Charizard Hollow that sold for $406. I never seen this card come through an auction, so I thought that was kind of interesting. And then here is a CGC 10 perfect example of the Pikachu from the Pokemon Stamp Box promo set that sold for $1,379. And speaking of perfect cards, here is a CGC 10 perfect Charizard Hollow from the Celebrations Classic Collection, sold this week for $1,859. Now this card in a PSA 10 goes for between $300 to $400 depending on the week, but if you can land the CGC 10 perfect for this card, it'll cost you about $1,859. And I also looked it up on CGC's brand new pop report to see how many perfect examples there were. There are 10 perfect examples of this Charizard Hollow from Celebration set. Alright, on to some vintage cards. Here is a first edition Eevee from Jungle set, PSA 10, that sold for $96. And folks, you know, quick story time. I think I told the story before, but I'm going to say it again. Over a year ago, I had a subscriber or a viewer reach out to me when the hype was real on this card. And they said they bought it for like $700 some, and they were asking, do you think the price of this card is going to go back up? Because at that time, it was starting to steep back down a bit. And you know what to say. It's like, no, I don't think it's going to go back up. This card is very common, hence the common symbol at the bottom. And yeah, these cards got sent in and they were graded so heavily, and it's now down to below $100 for a PSA 10, and some people were paying close to $1,000 for it. I just feel really bad for the people that spent that kind of money on this card. Here we saw a Sabrina's Gengar first edition card from Gym Challenge set, PSA 10, sold for $354. This is one of the best non-holo Gengar cards in my opinion. A first edition holo Dark Machamp sold as a PSA 10 for $706 US. An unlimited Politoed holo from Neo Destiny sold for $911. Very low population PSA 10 card right here. A reverse foil Charmander from Expedition set sold for $415 this week. A couple of Shining cards. Here's a first edition Shining Celebi from Neo Destiny, sold for an even $1,600. And then a Shining Raichu first edition sold for $2,200. Here we saw an Alakazam holo from Expedition set, sold for $481, and that is a very underwhelming price in my opinion for a card like this. I would have bet it would have gone for closer to $1,000. So I think $481 is an absolute steal for this card. And then here is a Magneton holo from Skyridge that sold for $660. Definitely one of the better illustrations of Magneton. Now this isn't a vintage card, but I wanted to include it. It is the 2018 World's Champions Festival semi-finalist card in PSA 9, sold this week for $3,650. And lastly, for the vintage cards on eBay, here is a Japanese base set Charizard in PSA 10 that sold for $5,500. Alright, on to some sealed product. Here is a Sword and Shield base set booster box that sold this week for $191. Now I wanted to include this because there's not a lot of Sword and Shield base set stuff that we see come by. So I was kind of curious myself on what these booster boxes were going for in auction. We saw an XY Phantom Forces box sell for $1,755. Here is a Black and White Dragons Exalted booster box that sold for $3,200. An Unlimited Team Rocket booster box sold for $7,600 this week. And a first edition Jungle box sold for $9,350. And then we also saw a first edition Portuguese Jungle booster box sell for $4,300 this week. Alright folks, just a handful of auctions from the weekly PWCC auction block. Here is a first edition holo Dark Blastoise that sold for $2,100 as a PSA 10. We saw a no rarity symbol Japanese base set Squirtle sell for $2,190, and then a no rarity symbol Japanese base set Bulbasaur sell for $4,680. The Charizard from Black and White Plasma Storm sold this week for $6,900. Here was a 2010 Daisuke Club Prize Espeon Prime card. Got the BGS 9.5 and sold for $7,200. And then the BGS 10 Umbreon Prime sold for $26,400. We saw a PSA 10 Japanese Gold Star Charizard sell for $12,000 even. And then the auction of the week I'm going to give to this Corporate History Charizard. This is a 25th anniversary Charizard card that went out to the employees and artists of the Pokemon Company. As a PSA 9, this card sold this week for $28,800. And that's it. That's all I got for you folks. Let me know what you thought of the auctions of the week. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. It really motivates me to keep going on and on, so thank you so much for that. Give this video a like on the way out, and I will catch you in my next one.